Has it really been 5 years since this movie came out? Joker was released in 2019, directed by Todd Phillips, starring Joaquin Phoenix. And yeah, I can't believe it's been 5 whole years and we get a sequel today. Um, yeah, I was highly anticipating this movie in 2019. In fact, this movie was the first movie I ever reviewed on this channel. I've since privatized all my videos before 2021 because I'm just not happy with the quality of them. But yeah, this was a very important movie in my film reviewing career. Not exactly a career, I don't make money off of it, but still, this is a very important film in my life. Not in the way that some weirdos make it in theirs, but yeah, I figured I'm seeing the sequel today. Let's look back on this 5 years later. This is Joker, so let's start this review off, starting off with the good, and there's genuinely still a lot to really like about this movie. Now, I'm not as high on this movie as I was 5 years ago, but I still think this is a solid movie. First of all, you got Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, in this movie. And I thought that he was really great. I thought this was a good look at a pre-Joker character. He's not fully the Joker until like the ending of the movie. But I thought that he gave a really good performance, and apparently everybody else did as well, because he won an Oscar for this movie. Which, other than Heath Ledger, I don't think there's been any other comic book movie performance to ever win an Oscar. I might be wrong, but I think Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger are the only ones, and rightfully so, because he's up there with Heath Ledger for me for live-action Joker portrayals. He's a good man with a lot of mental issues, and he's been pushed too far. I thought Joaquin Phoenix just absolutely nailed this character. Aside from him, you got Robert De Niro in this movie. Not really much screen time for him, but Robert De Niro still does a good job as Murray Franklin, this comedian talk show host in Gotham City. I thought he did a great job. Again, he's only in it sporadically throughout the movie, mainly at the end, but he did a great job. I really love the whole scene where Arthur is on his show and they're going back and forth. It's a very intense scene. Everybody who's seen this movie knows exactly the scene I'm talking about. Yeah, I really loved his portrayal as Murray. Brett Cullen as Thomas Wayne. Again, not a lot of screen time. I think he's only got like 2 or 3 scenes throughout this whole movie. But I thought that he was absolutely fantastic as Thomas Wayne. Before this movie, I think the only other time we've actually spent time with Thomas Wayne in live action was in Batman Begins, and that version of Thomas Wayne was basically a saint. He could do nothing wrong. This version of Thomas Wayne is a complete douchebag, and I really liked how they did that with this version of Thomas Wayne, because other versions of Thomas Wayne were portrayed as being a little too perfect. This version of Thomas Wayne, and also the version of Thomas Wayne in Matt Reeves' movie, The Batman, they were no saints. So I liked that different take on Thomas Wayne, and Brett Cullen really did a great job. Aside from the characters, the score here is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved the score. And the soundtrack is also pretty solid as well. Now, the story here is what really sells me on it. Because, like I said, this is a Joker origin story. This is a man who is well-meaning, who is pushed too far. And we see that a lot in society. So it was interesting to see it put to film. Yes, we've seen stuff like this before. This is no original story, but I still thought that Todd Phillips approached it in a really interesting manner. So I just gotta appreciate what they did with the story. Some people take a little bit of an issue with this being an incel movie. whatever. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but I still think it's a really good story here. Let's talk about the violence in this movie, because I remember leading up to this movie, people were so scared that this movie and the violence contained within was going to trigger a whole chain of events. A bunch of random acts of violence were going to break out, and thankfully none of that happened. But I liked how they portrayed the violence in this movie. It's not portrayed as a good thing. It's portrayed as a tragic downfall of a character. And I like how the violence is mainly saved for the third act. Of course, there's some violence in the first couple acts, but you don't really get the main major violence until the ending of the movie. The Waynes aren't even shot until like 5 minutes before the movie's over. So yeah, I really did enjoy how they were able to work all that in. That's about all for the good. On to the bad, and there's a couple things here that just don't really do it for me. First of all, every other character except for the ones I named were kind of just there, I guess. You get two police detectives played by Shea Whigham and Bill Camp. They're kind of just there. They pop up here and there, and then they disappear. But then you get the character played by Zazie Beetz, and I don't even know why they put her in this movie, except for Arthur to hallucinate a relationship with her. They don't really do much else with her. I guess they didn't know what to do, but yeah, didn't really care much for the inclusion of her character if they couldn't find something for her to do. And then there's just the whole thing about there being a lot of similarities to past movies. You got connections to Taxi Driver. You got connections to King of Comedy. There's other stuff in there. It is what it is, and yes, it's a little familiar with what they're doing in this movie. But that's about all for the bad. On to the final thoughts. I think Joker is still a fantastic movie. Joaquin Phoenix puts his all into this role. He won an Oscar for it, and rightfully so. So, yeah, Joker is a flawed but pretty damn good comic book movie, a good look at a alternate version of the Joker, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So that was my thoughts on Joker. Have you seen this movie? You probably have. As always, if you have seen it, let me know down in the comments what you thought about it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.